a registered dietitian with a group practice and kind of smashing your head against the wall trying to figure out why your team is not thriving? If this sounds like you definitely want to come hang for this video today because we're going to talk all things leadership, something Amy P struggled with significantly and still continues to struggle with significantly and growing a group practice. So for those of you guys don't know me, I am Amy Plano. I am the reimbursement dietitian and I help dietitians get credentialed, build a crap out of insurance and make the money they deserve. But what most people don't know is I continue to run since 2009 a group insurance-based practice with employees. And so one of the single-handedly hardest parts of my career to date has been managing a team. And I think for lots of different reasons, it has been challenging. I think, but the main reason is as registered dietitians, we learn the clinical aspect of doing our job, but we in no shape or form are educated about the leadership role and what it takes. So today in this video, I'm breaking down 6 things I, Amy P, have learned the hard way that hopefully will help your employees win without you micromanaging them, rescuing them, or feeling like the CEO of chaos. Because I can tell you single-handedly, that's how I feel sometimes. So let's talk clarity, let's talk intention, let's talk accountability and holding a damn high bar because that's how we build a real team, not a daycare. So like I mentioned at the start of this video, this is something I have struggled with tremendously. And it was not until I got super intentional with the things I was doing wrong in order to get my team in a place where they can win. Because one of the misconceptions that I made in my mind, and you may be making in your mind, is kind of ruling from like a punitive place. So meaning like not thinking everybody really is intended there to win. So let's talk about first things first. As a leader, you need to have crystal clear clarity of vision, okay? Your team cannot win if they do not know what game they're playing, right? So in simple terms, clarity of vision means where is your practice going? What does success look like for the practice and for the dietitian? And what do we not do here, right? Because remember, in today's age and space, when people come into our group, there is a good chance that they behave differently and followed a whole different set of rules in another practice, right? And so if we are not crystal clear with what success looks like and how our employees win, it's going to be very challenging to move everybody forward on the same page. So if you're vague, they're going to flounder. But if you're clear, they're going to move forward in your group with heartfelt purpose. So script it out what your vision is, share it, repeat it like it's your freaking job because it is. And if you're one of my coaching clients in the Hiring Dietitian coaching program, you guys know that this is literally the first thing we drill down on. We do not get into any of the logistics of hiring until we have clarity of vision, because that is going to weave itself through every single aspect of the hiring, onboarding, recruiting, performance review process is going to be your vision. Okay, so spend time on that so you know what that looks like. Number 2, this is something dietitians suck at, including myself, but I have to say I've gotten much better. Make fast, intentional decisions, okay? Your employees take cues from you. It is so damn important that if we went back to 1, clarity of vision, that you mirror the core values and vision of the practice. And so if you are paralyzed by decision fatigue, guess what? Your team is going to freeze too. So teach them to ask very specific intentional questions about the things that we are asking them to do. So a lot of times I like a question like, what's the outcome I want here? What's the fastest decision I can make that aligns with our values that's going to get me this outcome? Fast often equals sloppy, so we have to make sure that it is intentional, purposeful, and unsticks us in our practice from the analysis paralysis. So you want to give your team permission to decide and then support the process. I once heard this saying that I love, and it's money loves speed. And you can really kind of just say on some level, it's like your lack of indecision is a decision in and of itself in your practice. And you want to make sure that not only are you as the leader quick to make intentional decisions, you are teaching your team the lens in which to operate and giving them permission to decide, obviously within context, so we can constantly be moving the business forward and not getting like a hang up in terms of what we need to do. So giving them that lens and having your core values is going to be super helpful. Number 3, accountability. High performing teams shockingly love accountability. Low performing teams loathe it, right? So set crystal clear expectations, set deadlines, create systems that track it all, okay? One of the things I have found super helpful in my practice for all of my employees is I have created a scorecard. And on the scorecard each week, I ask them very specific questions that they evaluate themselves on to make sure they're on track with our KPIs for each individual employee. So, and when they miss the mark, it's super important on Monday morning when I'm reviewing all those scorecards that I don't ignore it and I do not sugarcoat it. Okay. It is super important to give quick feedback. I know a lot of us are super busy, and many of you guys, in addition to managing your practices, you are actually seeing patients. But the more you let something go, the longer you are providing that you teach your employees how you want to be treated. Instead, if they miss the mark on an expectation or a deadline, I like to say something of this nature. So here's what we agreed upon. Here's what happened. How can we close the gap, right? How can we make sure that this does not happen again? And we really want to put the accountability on the employee, not us, right? Because if we're like, okay, cool, like do X, Y, and Z so this doesn't happen again, it's not really internalized because accountability isn't punishment. It's actually professional respect. And giving feedback and holding people to a high standard is going to be critical for everybody's integrity within the team. So making sure that in your practice, you have a way to instill accountability. Number 4, this one is near and dear to me as of lately, and I'll talk about why. Emotional control as a leader, number 4, is really important. If your mood sets the weather, you may have also heard the saying like, your emotional regulation is the temperature of the culture, right? And so if you are like a lunatic, then that is going to be problematic, right? And so we do not want to be a hurricane. Do not want to be the source of chaos. And so the concept of fuck your mood, follow the plan is going to be critical, right? Because we need to be the freaking sun. Okay. So when your team messes up, and they will, you cannot react emotionally. No eyes rolled, no drama, no sarcasm. You have to keep your nervous system in check and respond like a leader. And trust me, as of lately, this season of life, I have not been as good of a gatekeeper of my emotions. And there's been certain times when I've gotten on calls with my employees, and I have felt very badly, not necessarily about the things that I said, but the tone, right? Because remember, the tone is like the thermometer of the room. Instead, say something like, things didn't go as planned, like, let's troubleshoot this together. Okay, so emotional regulation is your superpower as a boss, right? I know it may not seem that, and it may seem so self-evident, but if you become unhinged, your team is going to unravel slowly but surely, each employee at a time. So make sure that you use your superpower as a boss, and constantly remind yourself that you have to role model the right behavior and the core values of your team. Number 5, radical candor. Super big one. If you cannot give honest feedback, your team cannot grow. So radical candor kind of is this concept of kindness plus truth, right? So tell the truth with care and kindness, but tell it, right? I think a lot of practice owners don't want to hurt people's feelings. But what they do not realize is that is at a detriment to everybody on the team, right? Not just that employee, because if we are not giving proper feedback when people do not meet expectations, then we are showing that that activity or behavior is permissible. So instead, you can kind of say to an employee, I care about you and I need to give you direct feedback. You can avoid, conflict that doesn't protect them. It handicaps them, right? So let's stop enabling mediocrity and start coaching for greatness, right? It is so easy to sit back and want to be want to be nice. But the reality is that niceness will not serve anybody, especially you. And in all reality, it does not serve that employee, because on some level, we're holding them back from achieving greatness. Okay. Lastly, but most importantly, I have been seeing this a ton in our space. And shockingly, this is one of the areas that I actually think I am very good at. And I want you to steal my confidence on this one. Okay. High standards. Your business is going to rise or fall to the standard that you set, and not just set the one that you enforce, right? Mediocre notes, mediocre work, sloppy communication, not on your watch, right? You do not need to be a tyrant, but you do need to say, we do excellent work here. That's the bar, right? I see so many practice owners reward mediocre behavior or turn a blind eye to kind of shitty work because it's much easier to pretend that it doesn't exist than as a practice owner to take the time to correct the mistake or reestablish the standard. Okay. Your best employees will rise to meet the standard, and the wrong ones, they will naturally opt out, and that is a good thing. Okay. But you need to raise the standard. And I can almost 100% guarantee that the standard that you have set right now is not high enough. Okay. So I want you to dig deep on this one because I think it is so important. Okay. So just to be very clear, this is shit that I have learned after 15 years of being a group practice owner. These are not things that happened overnight, but I want to recap and summarize just so the message is clear. Number 1, you, practice owner, you need a crystal clear vision. Number 2, you have to make sure that you make intentional decisions and you give your team the tools to also make fast, intentional decisions that move the business forward. Number 3, accountability. High performing teams, I don't care who they are, they love accountability. Low performing teams hate it, okay? Hold your team accountable to a high standard. Number 4, control your emotions as a leader, right? You have to fuck your mood and follow the plan that you set out to, embodying the core values that you put forward in the vision. Your employees are counting on you for that one. Number 5, cinco, radical candor. Feedback is a gift. Do not hold back from giving feedback that it is both kind and truthful. That is how your team will grow. And lastly, but not least, hold a higher standard. And it starts with you. You have to set the bar the highest. Therefore, your employees will role model you, right? Do not allow for mediocre behavior. Do not allow people not to do what you set a crystal clear expectation for, because you get the practice you tolerate, not the one that you want. Okay, so if you are building a team in your insurance-based practice, you want to lead with clarity, confidence, and real systems. But this is your reminder that you are not alone. I teach all of this stuff on how to scale, as well as leadership training within the Hiring Dietitians program, right? You probably don't even know that I have a hiring program, but I have an entirely soup to nuts hiring program that teaches you every single aspect of the hiring process, from creating a mission and a vision, to understanding labor laws in your state, to understanding payroll systems. So we cover hiring, onboarding, setting standards, and leading a team, most importantly, without losing your mind, right? So you can build a thriving group practice with amazing leadership. But leadership is not a personality trait. It is a decision, it is a skill, and it is a muscle that requires reps. And you can learn it, but you need to lead like a boss. Okay. So hopefully, even if you just took one of these leadership guidelines and went back to your practice and practiced the shit out of them, I will leave you in good hands. And so go check out Hiring Dietitian. That's actually not a new product for me, but it will really help you establish the leadership parameters that you need in your practice. See you next week on the next video.